House of the Rising Sun Epic Dark version. That is an exciting title. Will it be epic? Probably, based on the only other time I've heard Erik sing. That was Oh Holy Night. I did that about a month ago at the time of recording. That was epic. It was really, really cool. Make sure to check out my video on that if you haven't seen that yet. I'll leave it below in the pinned comment. I know it's a Christmas song, but hey, you can watch that one any time of the year, I'm sure. House of the Rising Sun, a hugely popular song, covered many different times by many different people. I must confess, I used to think the original was by the Animals, their version in the 60s.
There is a house in New Orleans.
Maybe that's the most famous version. Erik even mentions it in the description of this video. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this epic dark version.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. My mother.
Onto the second verse. What was that we were just hearing coming in? Like a drone on the tonic. Sounded almost like a cello. I guess we'll hear more of it soon. Well, I think the standout thing there is just the arrangement style. Definitely not what I would have expected from an epic dark version. The introduction, let's just go straight from the beginning. Magical, fairy-like. It makes me think of forests or elves or imps or something, or even like snowflakes in a way. Maybe that's just because I mentioned his Oh Holy Night in the introduction. Well, what are we hearing there? So the key, A minor. It's the same as the Animals version, and I really like what the piano does. So it's basically built up of these two ideas. The lower hand, just doing that. And then the right hand, moving down. And then you put them together. I'll play it a little bit slower. Etc. Really quite magical. But then when the singing starts...
There is a house in New Orleans.
We can hear now it's much more chordal, chum pum pum pum, and then no new notes played. Because we're hearing less, we then hear more of Erik, now that he's singing. He's the focal point here, so it makes sense. And I like how it's sort of maintaining that arpeggiated guitar figure we hear in the original. But also just a little bit less, you know, there are fewer notes being played essentially. Stands out even more because just before... the pizzicato strings, very orchestral, and that, I think, is what gives it this magical feel, fairy tale-like feel. Now, one thing in the original, when I say original, I mean the Animals version. I know it's not actually the original.
There is a house.
The first verse starts, then the next line in New Orleans, and then...
And it's been the ruin.
he already jumps up there, which is pretty much kind of the top of a choral tenor's range. Around this area. I find that interesting in this version because usually you'd have the first verse maybe down and then a bit later on in the song is when the climax moment happens. We saw that with Erik and his Oh Holy Night. And it looks like we've seen it here because the first verse...
And God, I know I'm one.
he's staying down there and he's going quite low. I know. Going down to there. This is a bottom E. In the choral world, again, the lowest basses, that's generally as low as you need to go. So I assume he will go up to that top note. He's already sung a low bass note. He has a huge range, as we can see. Like I said before, this is the same key as the Animals version, so it's easier to compare in terms of ranges. Okay, let's carry on and see how this progresses. Haven't really heard much darkness to it yet. Epicness, maybe, but I expect we'll hear more in a bit.
My mother was a tailor. She sewed my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man down in New Orleans.
Going right down there for it. Is that the rock organ sound coming through? That is so iconic as per the Animals version. Nice and subtle, added in quietly here.
Now the only thing a gambler needs is a suitcase and a trunk, and the only time he's satisfied is when he's on a drunk.
Okay, I can sense things are building up. He's just moved up the octave. He's just moved up the octave. I showed in the Animals version, they move up the octave on what, the third line? He has waited 2 whole verses, plus some. From here on, I'm expecting big things, let's put it that way. Oh Holy Night, I was sort of expecting big things, but it was my first time hearing Erik. My expectations were just going off the comments from people saying, you need to check him out, he's a powerful singer, all of this kind of stuff. Now I've heard him, that will be my expectation at some point. We're roughly halfway through, a bit under halfway. That crazy high chest voice of his has to come out at some point, right? Surely.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
It's the little things that really contribute to this notion of building slowly, gradually. You know, this is a long song. It's nearly 6 minutes long, this video. What do I mean by the little things? Well, we got some vocal harmonies coming in. Again, very subtle. I already mentioned the really subtle rock organ that we can hear. Not so much being da-da-da-da-dum, but just chordal, slow, sustained chords in the background. The harmony providing a similar effect, but singing homophonically with Erik's melody. Listen out for that note. That's the harmony here.
There's a suitcase and a trunk.
Just repeated the whole way through. I won't go into the harmony too much, but this song, I think one reason why it's so well loved and so many people cover it is because it's quite a simple chord progression. I'll play the chords. My left hand will show which chords they are, but the right hand, you'll see how little movement is actually required to switch between these chords. There's the first bit, and then again. When you see it like that, maybe it makes a bit more sense why the whole idea is this arpeggiated idea. What I like about Erik's cover so far is the rhythmic energy provided by the piano. We're starting to hear all these other layers or instruments coming in. The piano is still the centerpiece. We don't have percussion yet. So the piano, you know, being a plucked stringed instrument, technically is a percussion instrument as well as a stringed instrument. So its purpose is rhythmic as well as just melodic or harmonic. We can hear moments like this. Every sub beat is always, there's always something playing. But then we go back 10 or 20 seconds or so and it sounds like this.
I was a gambling man.
The stresses are really just chum, chum, with the occasional note in between chum, bum, bum, bum. Another moment when that happens later on
is when he's on a drunk.
And what did we hear Erik do at that moment when the piano became a bit more chordal, i.e. the piano was doing a bit less? Erik had this really cool affectation, this slide down, quite growly, gritty. Not the most standard in terms of ways of singing. So less piano equals more emphasis on Erik. Okay, where we stopped, Erik had just moved up the octave. Like I say, I think we have to expect bigger things from now, right? We're about halfway through. It doesn't seem like the most dark version. Maybe the song's just quite dark in general. The aesthetic, though, is really dark. I really like the video. It adds a lot to it. And epic. It's epic in some ways, but I really want to see some power, voluminous type of epicness. If you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting me. You can buy me a coffee or hot chocolate, join our Patreon for loads of additional content that's not available on YouTube, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. All options are linked below, and a special thanks to everyone on the screen. Back to the video.
Tell your children not to do what I have done.
Singing in octaves.
Spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun.
The sound's growing. The bass pedal, dum, 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 that kind of sound coming in, very sporadic. Meanwhile, now the piano is becoming much more syncopated. We've got Erik singing in falsetto just to fill in the gaps. You know, up there, that kind of thing. Okay. Seamless or abrupt key change? I don't know. I'm yet to decide. Right, with these key changes where you rise up towards the end, certain performers or artists like to do it a lot, usually with live performances from my reaction experience. It's kind of a cliche if you want to grow and become more powerful. And for us, it's good because we know Erik is, well, hopefully now going to be singing even higher, right? But yes, we move from here. You might expect everything to just move up one note, but here everything's moving up too, so they've kind of skipped the obvious semitone up, moving up a full tone. And now we're in our new home key of B minor. Just before the key change, I was thinking loads of different things. Let me just go through a few of them. One, the little vocalizations that he does. Simple. I just like it. I really like it. There's a lot going on. So many layers are going on in the background. We see the piano there. We've seen very clearly what it's doing earlier. You know, they made sure to show us a lot, dum, da, 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 dum, all of those little rhythms. Now we can barely even hear it just because the texture is so thick. There are so many different things going on. If you're going to make a song epic, you should probably have a lot going on in there, right? The militaristic percussion that's now come in, playing a huge role as well. Then much more of a metal or hard rock type style. We have the electric guitar in there now for just this huge new type of resonating sound. We have our organ, chordal, piano, chordal, guitar, strumming, chordal. There's that really rich, slow vibrato of Erik's that I really like. We tend not to hear it on the super high notes, which just makes sense. They're harder to hit. And we can really hear the difference in his vocal technique. Just then down to here, when he's able to bring in that rich vibrato more. The higher notes, this is my second time hearing him sing, and I think I can safely say that's how he sings those higher notes. That's what gives it this kind of aura that it has, this almost strained type of sound. He's not a pure operatic leggero tenor or anything like that, and that's why this version is very aptly called epic and dark. Okay, a couple of minutes left. There's certainly room to grow more. We've just had a key change moving up, which means higher, which means more range from him. So let's see what they do. Are they going to keep moving up? Maybe. I don't know. Well, they can't do that. Well, they can. They can do what they want. I was thinking it's quite ballsy to call your own version an epic version. If it's like this, I think it's completely fine, obviously, because it is epic. So fair play. If you're going to call a version epic, it has to be epic, which it is. It was making my eyes water. That was insane. They've just quite abruptly here gone back to the previous key, like the opening, very abruptly, which was just a little bit of a shock, but I think I'm now over the shock. So I think we just have to go back to the real epic bit, because it was epic. The chorus of, I was about to say chorus of angels, the choir we're hearing in the background, again, just a huge sound, so many voices, volume on every single voice brought way down, so we get the feeling of a massive sound, but volume wise it's not overpowering at all, just adds to the effect greatly. They call the rising sun. That's high. He just kept moving up and up. In a blended voice. It's not pure falsetto mostly, but it's still a blended voice. He has these elements of his full voice, his chest voice in there, which give it this gritty sound and just that real kind of epic metal type feeling, right? If we're going to talk about range in this song that we've heard from him, well, he's gone from down there, the bottom E, 1, 2, 3, and a bit octaves. Epic confirmed. Well, that was cool, and they can finish however they want now. It'll be interesting to see what they do, though. I imagine similar ideas to the introduction, but...
There is a house in New Orleans. They call the rising sun.
Here he is, his head voice.
It's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. God, I know I'm
Yeah, lovely way to end. It feels very religious, as though he could be, I don't know, confessing in a church or something. Why? Well, the accompaniment for this ending. Well, firstly, his voice, singing in his head voice now, pretty much, right? A lot of air coming through in the sound as well, which is a delicate type of sound. We do still have a choir in the background, but they're so quiet, I had to close my eyes to listen to them.
poor boy. And God,
And as well as the choir, providing this sustained chordal background. We have an organ now, a pipe organ, unlike a rock organ, and the pipe organ is a typical organ in your church. So everything, at least from a musical or sonic audio perspective, does point towards a church setting.
I know I'm one.
Lovely slight harmonic shift, but then things resolve at the end and settle as expected. You know what? That could actually be a rock organ as well. The fact that they're not showing us, though, I guess leaves it a bit more to the imagination. Any sound is possible these days with technology and studio equipment, but I guess that's how it made me feel, like a sort of church-like experience to finish with. Perhaps not what you might expect from a singer who was more associated with metal or hard rock music. Well, I'm going to leave that one there. If you're going to take on House of the Rising Song, such a well-known and loved tune, and you're calling it epic, it has to be epic, and that was 100%. So yeah, hats off to them. Lovely arrangement otherwise, did some very cool things in there. Let me know if you want to see more Erik on the channel by liking this video and by commenting other covers or songs by him that you'd like me to do. If you don't want to write any words, then we'll go with an emoji. Today's emoji will be the rock hand. No surprises there, I'm sure. Thank you very much for watching, especially if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one.